It is a life full of darkness, a life with many questions, but no answers. By the end of it all, one has to have a forgiving heart, hence the journey of healing. This goes hand in hand with Paul Lewis' quote, which states, "Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future." Dan Matakaya is one man that has gone through the pain of a cheating spouse, betrayal, rejection, and now into the world of darkness. Not that he was born blind, but because life took another turn for the worst. But through it all, he has chosen to stay positive, hence the courage to reach out to the community.
My name is Dan Shieshie. I'm a police officer. I'm also visually impaired, which I came through the incident that happened to me in 2013. Okay, I was born in Kakamega County in a family where we were 9 siblings. I'm the 5th born, and both my family and my parents are still alive. I went through school until 2007 when I finished Form 4. After 2007, in the year 2008, I joined the Kenya Police, and I went training at the Kenya Police College, Kiganjo, until 2009, August, when we came from the college, and I was posted to Itabo Police Station in Ebru. I worked there until 2012, when I was transferred to Kisii Police Station. But during my work in Ebru, I came across a young lady, very beautiful, so humble. We dated and then we got married in the year 2011. We were blessed with one kid, a boy, in 2012, and unfortunately he passed on in May 2013 when I was in Kisii. We had agreed that she will join me later when I have just settled in Kisii. But she got a job in Ebru, then she declined to join me, and we agreed let she will work and then I'll be visiting. So she used to visit me in Kisii until when she went to Nakuru to run her brother's business, and at that point she came closer to me because I was in Kisii. My child passed on in 2013, May, and after we had buried him, my wife told me that she had been advised that we need to have another kid so that she will heal from the incident, from the loss. But at that point, I told her that we cannot do that, not because it was a bad decision, but because I felt that there is someone who's trying to intrude into our personal life. In September, she came to visit. We stayed together for 2 weeks, and then at one point she told me she wanted to take the child's belonging with her to Nakuru. So I refused because I asked her, there's no need, you can take this because we were still together. You are my wife, I'm your husband. So there's no need. So at that point, we had a quarrel over the issue. So I called her mom, I explained to her, and she called her to her home to go and maybe explain the reason. On 21st September 2013, the same year, the day she was preparing to leave. The previous night, this was on a Saturday. On Friday, I was on duty the whole night. So I came to the house at around 5:30 a.m. in the morning. So when I came to the house, she was still sleeping. I went to the bed. I was so tired. So when I went to the bed, I slept. She woke up as she was preparing to leave. She was taking some of her items. So as I was sleeping, few minutes later, she poured a solution on my face. I felt a burning sensation. So it was so burning. So I thought that she had maybe poured hot water or cooking oil on my face. So when I jumped out of the bed trying to get some water so that I can reduce the burns on my face, I stepped on the floor, and she had poured some water and connected the electricity. So when I stepped on the floor, I felt a shock. I just screamed for help, and my colleague came for my rescue as she had already run away. The first colleague who came in, when she saw what was happening, she just got hold of me, took me to the vehicle, and I was rushed to hospital for treatment. At that point, I was not seeing, because immediately she poured the acid on my face, on my eyes. No, it was a blackout for me. I never saw anything. Since that day until now, I've never seen that. While I was in the hospital, they wanted to do a surgery on my eyes. But the same day the surgery had been scheduled to be done, I was lifted to Kenyatta. So when I came to Kenyatta, the doctors said they let them deal with other wounds, because the face was so wounded and it was so fresh. My chest, the right shoulder and the limb, it was an open wound. So they wanted to deal with it first, as they had seen the report of the doctor who wanted to perform the surgery. So later on, they realized that this acid was still burning, was going deep. That's when the doctor told me that now they can do nothing, because the burns, the acid was still burning at that moment when I was in the hospital. So that was when the doctor told me, here, Dan, you'll not see again. You'll have to bear the situation, accept yourself, but seeing again, it will be so difficult for you. I even inquired if I can be referred to India, but the doctor told me that even if you go to India, there's nothing they can do to your eyes, maybe to restore your sight. So I just accepted the way the doctor had told me, even though it wasn't an easy decision for me to accept that from that moment I'll not be seeing. It was so hard for me. I stayed in denial for quite some time. I remember I had went more than 15 surgeries, the grafting, trying to heal the wounds, because now the wounds were not healing. They had to do grafting, they get some skin somewhere, then they graft it on the face or on my hands, on the chest. So it took me long, but now the biggest worry for me was, will I ever see again? So when I was told you'll never see again, it was so hard for me to accept. So while I was in denial, I had another thought of taking my own life. Now the suicidal thoughts, because I knew that I won't make it. When the doctor realized that I'm struggling with the situation, at least they intervened. They called a counselor who came and talked to me so briefly. Maybe we met twice. She talked to me, and then now everyone in the hospital, including the doctors, the nurses, and the staff, just encouraged me. And then now the biggest encouragement, the support that I received was from my family and friends, until the day I realized that I can make it. My parents were so worried. Even it affected them psychologically because they saw what I was going through. But you know, my parents walikuwa wameokoka, so they just told me, you know, I had not seen myself. Nilikuwa naona tu niko na uchungu, niko na vidonda. Now the dressing was done everywhere, tumbo mpaka kwa kichwa, the whole face. So waliona kama umepitia hii yote na umepona, macho ni Mungu tu anajua. Mungu mwenye amekuponya will make a way for you. Yeah, so they encouraged me that way, and even the patients. I remember there was one patient who was my friend who told me, Dan, I wish ningekuwa wewe, because he knew that it was tough on his side. Hakuwa na vidonda, but he had a cancer, the leukemia, cancer of the blood. So it was so difficult for him to cope, but he used to wish that he was me, yani angekuwa mimi sasa, because he knew that mimi nitapona and I'll stand and I'll be strong. That is what gave me the strength, and even my family. When I was discharged, sikuwa nimepona kabisa, but because there was the need to change now the environment, they discharged me, wakanipea daktari, a nurse who used to attend to me at home. I used to stay in South Sea, so alikuwa anani attend after every 2 days, anakuja anafanya dressing. For 6 months I went back to the hospital. I was admitted at Nairobi West Hospital, where I underwent like 3 surgeries. Nikatoka. I went back to Kenyatta at some point 2016. Nikafanyiwa surgery ingine. After that, at least I had gained some stability from the mental stability. So the doctor referred me to the Kenya Society for the Blind. That is where I underwent rehabilitation. I learned Braille. I learned mobility, now how I could walk alone, since now this is a new life. Because nilikuwa naogopa even to make a step walking, knowing that now sioni. But at that, while I was in the institution, I learned a lot. I learned how to cook. I learned how to do what I can on my own when there's no one around me, how to wash and all those. And in that institution, I also underwent some counseling. I met many people who were visually impaired who supported me, and I felt that now I even regretted why I stayed in denial for all those months, because I felt that I have wasted a lot of time trying to deal with my situation, trying to accept the way I am.
With his condition, he's still working, hence thanking the government for considering the disabled in the community, unlike other places where he could have lost his job after the incident.
When I finished the rehabilitation, I went back to work. I was transferred from Kisii to industrial area where I am until now. So that's when I went back to work. I was deployed. I was given office work since I had learned the computer and all those. So it was so easier for me to cope and to work in that environment. At the moment, I'm with someone, a guide, who usually assists me in walking. You know, when you are visually impaired, you are blind, you cannot move around this city or where we are because of maybe the condition of the roads. Maybe you have many people, so it's not easy for us, people with visual impairment, to move around unless you have someone who will guide you. So I have someone who supports me, who guides me on that. But I can, when I'm in the house, I can do many things. I can wash, I can cook, I can iron my clothes, and many, many things. After going all through this experience, this painful experience, and meeting many people going through many painful experience, I decided to come up with a foundation. It's called Shieshie Foundation, just to try and help those people who are victims of burns and domestic violence. Because when I was in the hospital, I came across many people who have been burned, abused by their loved ones. So I decided, having gone through this, at least I can change the whole situation. I can be part of the change to some of the cases. So the main objective of the organization was just to empower those victims of domestic and burns violence. I realized that we have many people in our country, they can easily access these chemicals, acid. So as an organization, we want to come up with policies so that we can have those access to chemicals be restricted, so that no one could easily access or buy those chemicals, acid and other corrosive chemicals, to go and destroy someone's life. And we want also to mobilize the community. We want to sensitize and disseminate information relating to discrimination and stigma among the victims of burns and domestic violence. Because we realize that some of these cases, you know, men are going through violence, but now they are so silent. They don't want to share what they are going through. And I realized that the problem is not even the men, it's the society. Because the society is not ready to listen to these men who want to share their experiences in their family. Because when they are abused by their wives, they don't want to come out, because even their friends, even men, we are enemies of our own. When a man comes to you to share what maybe he's going through, maybe he has been abused, you now start laughing at her. And now, you know, when you do so, men will not come out to share. So I realized that I wanted to come up with a psychosocial support center, a counseling center, whereby men will now share their stories. We'll have someone to listen to their stories and walk with them through the journey they are going through. Also, those people who are survivors, the burn survivors, acid burn survivors, and other burns which comes as a result of violence. Maybe these are the children who have been burned, or as a result when maybe the parents have a quarrel, now they want to inflict the pain to the children. So we want to support those people, maybe empower them economically, come up with projects that will empower them, will give them funds to run business, so that they can also live a good life, sustain themselves and their families. What I want to advise, maybe those people want to get into marriage, is that you need to take your time. Don't rush, because this person you want to marry or get married to, you want to commit your life. It's not a trial and error thing. You want to commit your life. So it's good you take your time to know this person, to know her psychologically, emotionally, how we react to some issues. And it's good and healthy if you can have a quarrel with the one you love before you get into marriage, because at that moment you will understand how this person will react to those quarrels, so that when you are now in marriage, when something comes up, when you disagree, at least you will know how to handle, how to approach the issue. And then to those who are in marriage, when you have issue, I know in marriage we have issues. We don't have any perfect marriage. We have issues running from finance, property, and all those. But the moment when you have an issue or an argument, make sure you resolve the argument, you resolve the issue. Don't leave it pending. When you are not able to solve the issue or the problem on your own, just involve a third party who can be a family therapist. Let him help you as a couple, so that you have the issue resolved. Or even your friends or even church elders, they are so supportive, because when you share those issues with someone, at least you'll have a way of having the issue resolved. But when you find that you tried all those means, you feel that this is not workable, I can advise that you can even separate. Separation is healthy, so long as you take care of the children. And so long as you take care of the children, it's healthy, because it gives someone a chance to reflect on his or her life and realize some of what anachangia nini kwa zile shida wanapitia. At this moment, what I can advise or tell those who have gone through issues, or those people living with disability, is that never give up. Life has two sides. It's at one point you are enjoying, at another point mambo inakuwa magumu. So kitu naweza waambia, never give up. Jikubali the way you are, jipende. In life is all about you. You are the first priority. When you are okay, ile mtu yeyote mwenye ako karibu na yeye pia atakuwa sawa. So ile kitu naweza ambia wale watu wanaishi na ulemavu, usikae hapo useme tunangojea usaidiwe. We jitokeze, because I know we have our own ability. Sisi tuna uwezo, but it's differently. So we jitume, whatever you feel that you want to do na ni kitu mzuri inaweza kusaidia kwa maisha yako, we jitokeze. Someone will see what you are doing and will support you. Lakini usikae hapo ngojee ati mtu anakusaidie. Then wale watu wanapitia issues, you can as well reach Nitafuta. We are doing free counseling. We offer free counseling services. That's what Shieshie Foundation is doing. Ukiwa na shida usinyamaze, tutafute, then tutakusaidia.
My name is Geoffrey Ngewa, a clinical officer, and I would like to talk about the management of when someone has been exposed to has been exposed to acid. Once the acid has been poured to the surface of the body, or the surface wherever, the head, the hands, the very first management is diluting. You have to dilute, and that is use of water. The first thing is to pour water, and then that is the basic management. And then there are also other bases that can always be added when the effect is so much beyond. But at that level, once you've poured the water, the very first thing, you wash the area that has been affected. Then after washing that part, then immediately take them to hospital, because they are the immediate effects. So now, in the hospital setup, the medic will be able to look at what effects have already been done, the damage. And then now, talking about the head, and like the eyes, when the acid has been poured to the head, of course the eyes are very sensitive, and of course it will directly affect the cornea and the conjunctiva and all that. So the management really matters. If you have poured the water, it reduces the effect, because indeed it goes deep. So, but when you have diluted and then prevented the adverse effects of the same acid, this is what happens. It simply makes it less dangerous. And then the immediate step to be taken after that is to manage, is now to treat, if possible, if it's possible, to just manage, to get to know how the body now will get back to its former state. And basically talking about the eyes, it is different, because for the skin will always grow back, in as much as, yes, it might affect you, it might leave a scar, it will really leave scars, it will have to. But for the eyes, it is not limited to, but it can heal, depending with how it can be managed. And for that matter, I would like to say, conflicts do happen, conflicts do occur, but it's better you take a step. It's better to think before you act, because the adverse effect of that emotional reaction might really be dangerous at the end of it all, and you might not be able to reverse it. So for that matter, I would really advise couples to prevent, because it's not necessarily that person, like who has been poured acid on, will really get back to the former state. Because if at all the acid now has gone and then it has destroyed the unregeneratable parts of the body, then it means they have really lost their former normal status. So for that reason, let people always, it's good to be temperate, to control your tempers and also control your emotions. It will really save a great deal.
My former wife, after 2 days of the incident, she surrendered to the police, and then she was taken to court. We have the case, is still on, still pending before court, but we are hopeful that justice will prevail. But apart from that, I forgave her, because I just realized that having her in my heart, or maybe planning to revenge or to do what, is even haunting me more than her where she is. So I just had to forgive her and go on with my life. And when I did so, I felt so, I had peace now, because when you forgive someone, at least you are relieved from those thoughts of now trying to think of revenge, how will you do it. But at least I'm happy, living happily after forgiving her. I'm going on with my life well. God has given me strength to cope with the situation that I am in.
With this, we conclude with Jonathan Lackwood's quote, which states, "Forgive others, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace."